Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Big Red with another unboxing. We're doing the Commander set. We just did the Ruthless Regiment, that's the human tribal. If you know me in person, you know I'm a big tribal fan. I love tribal decks. They're just so much fun to build and the synergy is there. So, we did that one. What's the next one we're going to do? We're going to do... Let's get... Symbiotic Swarm. So, this one's pretty interesting. It plays around your graveyard. A Ethereal Aspect Warper is your main commander. That's an oversized card. Whenever it enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on any creature you control. If a creature card in your graveyard has flying, repeat this process for first strike, double strike, death touch, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, and vigilance. Then put a 1/1 counter on this for each counter put on a creature this way. I love how it doesn't say Ethereal Aspect Warper. It just says on Ethereal for each one. So, very interesting. We have 4 legendary foils, and we have some alternate. This one's the one that comes with the bird and the hornet tokens. So there's a lot of good stuff to be had in this set. So, let's start off. Just for some of you who's never done this, don't open it from this side. Open it from this side, because you're never going to get this out the top. All right. Ow, that was unpleasant to watch. Alright, then we take our trash, we throw it away. Don't forget to pop out your big card. I spread it like this and push down, and that usually pops it out. Fairly easy for the most part. Now, these big cards, they're really fun. You can get sleeves for them and everything. I'd love to have like a big oversized commander deck, but unfortunately they don't have lands. And the oversized, excuse me, I'm dropping everything. I stick it in here. Set that back off to the side. Okay, so here we are. You get this nice little box, has a name on it. Let's crack it open. Alright, so we first get into this. You're going to get this big old pamphlet that tells you a little bit more about the deck, some things you want to know, your different commanders, some spotlight stuff. For me, it's pretty trashy. Okay, now first off, I'd like to talk about these right here. Absolutely love these. These are great little life counters. I don't like that it doesn't go higher, but I'm fine with that. One thing I do like is the fact that each different commander comes with a different color. That's very nice. I think the last ones, if I'm not mistaken, everyone had the same color, so I really appreciate them making a difference between them, because if we're all using the same ones, they could get mixed up. But these are cool. I think they did that in the Brawl deck. Here is a blank card. I have no idea what it's for, unless it's just a spacer. So let's move some of this stuff out of the way. This little tray, once you've basically cracked your cards, it can hold stuff. Yay, that's really cool. But outside of that, there's no real value for it. But I'll hold on to it nonetheless. Now, let's crack this. That's a big, thick boy. Thick boy. Alright, one thing, Wizards, I really appreciate doing is with this one is you get a couple of these little punch outs with this deck. So that's cool. Thank you, Wizards. They knew we was going to need these, so thank you for printing them out. Now, I do like the ones that came in with the fat pack a little more, just so because of they're thicker. I feel like I'm going to hold on to those more with those. I feel like I'm going to get indestructible. This little piece of paper here just tells you about the popular formats. Ironically, it skips out on the popular formats. Pioneer, Modern. Standard is not a popular format. Booster Draft, yeah, sure, I can see that. Commander is about the only popular format on here. Standard has just been in such a rough spot here for the while that, yeah, it's not popular. They can say what they want. Anyways, so you're also going to get a smaller version of your commander, and it's foil. This is one of your other commanders that you can use. So if you don't want to use the bug, you can run Tiam Luminous Enigma. If I mispronounce these, this is the first time that I've actually said these, so be with me. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional vigilance counter on it. You can pay 3, remove 3 counters from among creatures you control, put the top card or the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then return a permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so it seems decent. It seems like you would have to build around it. I think I really like the art. But, okay, so that's a thing. Then you also get your partners for this set, and the partners in this is Nikara, Lair Scavenger, and Unique Scavenging Sentinel. She, I'm guessing that's a she, could be a he, I don't judge, is 3 for 2/2 with partner. Menace, whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you may draw a card and you lose 1 life. So that's interesting. The other half of the partner has Vigilance and enters the battlefield, exile another creature you control until Yannick leaves the battlefield. Whenever or when you do, distribute X 1/1 counters among creatures or any number of target creatures where X is the exiled creature's power. So I'm sure this is probably really good, especially with like flicker effects where you can continuously do this. So I'm sure it's pretty nice. Okay, then they give us an allotment of tokens. Make sure, these are all spirits. Flip them over, and you're going to get all of your hornets. And they give you quite a few. The old hornets back in the day, they actually have some value to them just because there are so few of them. Then they give you the land cycle. They give you some dual lands, Orzhov Basilisk, Sinto. I wish they would have gave us the new ones, but I understand that's too much value. Don't want to stick too much value in a commander deck. I do like the Evolving Wilds. All the lands in these commander precons are pretty much the same. If it has the color in it, you're going to get that land. Okay, so that's your basics. All right, Avenging Hunt Bonder. 5 mana for a 3/3 with double strike. When it attacks, put a double strike counter on another target attacking creature. I think this is great. I think this is a wonderful card. I could definitely see tearing this apart and putting these in other decks. I think that's great. This is one I think the Command Zone did a little video on. 2 for a 2/1 flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player who controls more lands than you, return it to its owner's hand. If you do, you may search your library for a Plains card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So basically, this is just going to get you lands. It's not a guarantee. If someone has flyings, this is pretty much a dead bird. It's great early game, especially if you're using bounce lands. It's great. Vitality Hunter. It is a 4-drop for a 3/4 with lifelink. Monstrous X. You can pay X and 2 white. When it becomes monstrous, put a lifelink counter on each of up to X target creatures. So that's cool. Distribute some lifelink. Daring Fiend Bonder. 4 mana for 5/1 haste. Attacks each combat if able. Pay 2. Exile this from your graveyard. Put an indestructible counter on target creature. Activate this ability only anytime you could activate or cast a sorcery. I think that's a good card. Like, if this ain't in my humans deck, I could definitely see that. I could see a lot of the pieces in here getting torn out and thrown in humans. Netherborn Altar, 2, tap, put a soul counter on this. Put your commander into your hand from the command zone. Then you lose 3 life for each soul counter on it. This is a card that I think is going to go up in value. It's really, really good because some of your commanders out there just gets killed so many times throughout a game of Commander. This right here is helping you get around a lot of that, especially if you have a commander with lifelink or if you have a way to gain that life back. This isn't going to be that big of a deal, and you're going to get a lot of value off that. And then we have our free spell. Each one of the commander decks has a free spell. This one costs 3, but if you control your commander, it's free. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control. So it's like a one-sided fog. Your opponent's creatures deal no damage. Your creatures still do all the damage. So that is a wonderful card. Really happy to see it. The counter spell is, of course, the one that everybody wants. It's most expensive. Selective Adaptation. Reveal the top 7 cards of your library. Choose from among them a card with flying, a card with first strike, and so on for a list of abilities. Put one of the chosen cards on the battlefield, the other chosen cards in your hand, and the rest in your graveyard. So that's interesting. Then we have Slippery Bulk Bonder. This card's really cool. It has Slippery Boggle and has her there. It's a 4-drop 3/3 flash hexproof. And when it enters the battlefield, you can give something else hexproof, which I think is really cool. Get a closer look on that. I need to lower my camera. I'd love to be able to just like hear all day, but man, my arms, they sure do get tired. They sure do get tired. I think I'm gonna just... There we go. Now we have a nice zoom in, so hopefully you can still see all of that. Nesting Grounds. I think this is a great card. You can pay 1, move a counter from target permanent you control onto another target permanent. Activate this ability only anytime you cast a sorcery. Ooh, excuse me. This is great. If you think about it, you have loyalty counters. You have your lifelink, death touch, all that good stuff that you can move around. Excuse me. There is a lot of really good stuff that you can do. A Chroma Angel of Wrath. Great card. A lot of great abilities. Great spot for it to get reprinted. Angel of Finality. 4-drop flying. Enters battlefield. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. It is ironic because like this is what you'd see in a mirror match, or this is something I'd want to see in another deck to face this deck. But I'm sure it has its spot there. We have Cataclysmic Gearhulk, 5 for a 4/5 vigilance. Enters battlefield. Each player chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker, and destroy or sacrifice the rest. Even better, sacrifices is much better. Kalimni's Captain, 5-drop for a 5/5 vigilance. Monsters 3 for a lot of mana, and whenever it becomes monsters, exile all artifacts and enchantments. Here's another. You'll see a theme in this deck that a lot of the creatures in here revolve around abilities, or whenever they go into combat or something, they're going to insert all the abilities, and this is one of them. 4 mana for a 3/3. At the beginning of each combat, creature you control gain basically anything your creatures have. If they have lifelink, death touch, so on and so forth, they're going to get it. Revelark, 5 mana for a 4/3 with flying. When it leaves the battlefield, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield. Now this is really good if you think about it. Whenever you think of power, usually you think, oh, 2 or less, that's weak creatures. But there's a lot of creatures out there with power 2 that's really, really good. Solemn Recruiter, 3 mana for 2/2 double strike. Beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. Sunblast Angel. Flying, enters the battlefield, destroy all tapped creatures. This is really good after your opponent gets done swinging out at your other guy. Fling that in there, you're good to go. 2 mana enchantment, enters the battlefield, support 2. Put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Pay 1, choose target creature with a counter on it. When that creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. That seems really good. I wish it didn't have the pay ability. This guy right here, the only reason he is in there is to get him in your graveyard, cast your commander, and you get all these abilities: flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. That's exactly what he's in there for. Changeling. This is another one of those. This just got printed in the mystery box set, and here it is again. Changeling that has the same thing. As long as a creature card in your flying, with flying is in your graveyard, this guy has that, and same thing for everything else that you control. Ever After, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of those creatures is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. Put ever after on the bottom of its owner's library. Then we have Soul of Innistrad. Soul of Innistrad is pretty good. Death Touch 6/6. Return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile this. Return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. So you're going to get to do that once in your graveyard and a lot on board. Soul Flare. It's 4 and 2 black for 4/4 with Delve. Basically, whatever you delve, whatever that creature has, that's what this guy's going to get. He's going to get all those abilities. Hornet Queen. This is a really good card. I'm really glad they reprinted it. I'm really glad that I own one now. I don't think there was that much, but there's so many synergies you can have with this. There's a Chromatic Lantern in here. If this dies, throw it on, or not Chromatic Lantern, Mimic Vat. And you're going to just keep doing that, and you get to keep all them little hornets. And they're going to add up a lot. Whew, I tell you what, this deck, if you're a person who likes really easy, really simple, really smooth decks, do not get this deck. This deck is a very, very wordy deck. There's lots of words to read this, and there's going to be a lot of people misplay this. Magic Marak? Rock? It's a bird, cat thing. 5 mana for a star. Power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of creatures you control. At the beginning of each combat, this gains all those texts if something else has it. Until the end of turn, if you control a creature. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Splinter Fright. 3 mana for a star. With Trample, power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. At the beginning of your upkeep, put the top 2 cards of your graveyard or library into your graveyard. Let me know which commander you all picked. Are you enjoying them? Have you got to test them yet? Abzan Academy. Enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 white spirit. So this is why we have all the spirit tokens. It's because this one card here. Ajani Unyielding. This is pretty good, Ajani. 6 mana, +2. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. -2. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. And -9. Put 5 1/1 counters on each creature you control and 5 loyalty counters on each other planeswalker you control. I think this is the only planeswalker in this deck, so I guess that's mainly there for tweaking. Flying Vigilance Trample for a 5/6 for 6. As this guy enters the battlefield, choose Artifact, Enchantment, Instant, Sorcery, or Planeswalker. Players can't cast spells of the chosen type. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. This is a new guy, I think. Dreadbridge Chant. Yeah, 6 mana. Whenever it enters the battlefield, put the top 10 cards of your library in your graveyard. Beginning of your upkeep, choose a card at random in your graveyard. If it's a creature, put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. That's pretty good. This guy's good. Dune Blast. Choose up to 1 creature, destroy the rest. They gave us a god, I think, in this one and the Jeskai. I don't think the other one's got gods. But that's cool that they're doing that. That's cool that they're putting them in the product. This one's a 5 mana, 6/7 indestructible devotion. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may search your library for a forest or plains card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Here's that Mimic Vat I was telling you about earlier. 3 mana, when something dies, you imprint it on this, and you pay 3, tap it, make a token of it. Alright, here's some of our special lands. I guess they separate it so we know that they are special. This is a Canopy Vista. It's a Forest Plains. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Then we have a Caves of Koilos. Adds a waste, or you can paint yourself to get a white or black. Exotic Orchard. Very good card. It's becoming a commander staple in most decks. Gavany Township. I'm actually surprised they put this one in here, but it's a good one. You can pay 2 white, green, put 1 count on each creature you control. Then you have Grim Backwards. Get a colorless and then pay 2 green, black, sacrifice creature, draw a card. And we have Sungrass Prairie. Pay 1, get a green, white. So that's basically what you get whenever you get the. Or wait a minute, no, I think I still got a little bit more. Yeah, no, don't let me skip out on you. I've still got some more here. Blighted Woodlands, Command Tower. I was about to say, I was like, surely there should have been a Command Tower. You have your green-black bounce land. This is our fetch lands that cost more. Memorial to Folly, pay 3, sacrifice it, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Bondin's Ornament. This is one of those that honestly I would probably take out of my deck unless your group's going to run them. I mean, it is a 3 mana, add 1 mana of any color with the option to draw a card, so I guess that's not bad. But I don't want my opponents drawing cards unless they're going to let me draw cards too. Arcane Signet right behind that, probably the best mana rock that we've had in a long time outside of Sol Ring. I'm really glad to have it. It's funny, they just printed this card and we already need to reprint, and I want them to print this card to death. I think it's great. I need about 50 of them for each one of my commanders. Can we get that? That's what I want. Commander Sphere is becoming every commander has to have it. This is what I want. Sol Ring into Signet, Command Sphere. It's great. Swift Boots, Hexproof and Haste, equipped 1. Then we have Blood Curdle. 4 mana, destroy target creature, put a menace counter on a creature you control. Something to know, in some of these commander cards, you'll notice the commander set versus some of the other cards in here. You'll see 2 different sets. If you see the set symbol there, it's part of the main set. So that's some of the cards that they brought over into the commander. Unbreakable Bond, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lifelink counter on it. I think that's great. And then here we have a cycle card outside of cycle. Void Beckoner, that's a lot of mana. Death Touch, you can cycle it. Whenever you cycle it, put a Death Touch counter on target creature. Another cycle. This has more cycle land or cycle cards than the cycle deck does. Trample, you're going to cycle this. You're not going to pay 9 for this unless you're just running very heavy ramp in this deck. I don't see you playing it. Whenever you cycle, put a trample counter. That's exactly what this is. Pay 2, give something a trample counter. Maybe play that one spell, get some stuff back. But in a deck of 100, you don't know what your probabilities are going to get that. This is another one of those goad cards. You goad a creature. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, each other creatures that's attacking gets +1/+1. I like this card, but I don't like this card. It's one of those that it's good for the time, but eventually it's going to come right at you. Here's another goad. This one makes your opponent lose 2 life. You gain 2 life. Oh, we get a third one. This one gives it +3/+3. Alright, here's probably one of my favorite cards from Kaladesh. It puts me in mind of Nightmare Hawk, or I think that's what it is. 3 mana for 2/3 flyer, vigilant, lifelink. There's a lot of abilities on that, and that's a great card. Unburial Rites, 5 mana, return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield with flashback. Vampire Nighthawk, that's the name of it. This one has flying, death touch, lifelink, so we give out vigilance for the death touch, but we still get all the other mechanics. Acidic Slime, death touch in the battlefield, destroy an artifact, enchantment, or land. Then we got some ramp. We have Cultivate. We have Harmonize for our draws. Sakura Tribe Elder. This is another commander staple. If you're running green, it's going to get in this deck. Satyr Wayfinder. It's a good one. Skullwinder. 3 mana for 1/3 death touch, enters the battlefield. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Then choose an opponent. That player returns a card from the graveyard to their hand. So this is something that they've started in here recently that I can notice in some of the decks. And they gave us that 1-drop tutor for anything put on top. But your opponent gets to do it. There's a couple cards in these sets that's like, I'm going to do it, you get to do it. And I think they're trying to build group hug. Abzan Charm. Good. Exile target creature with power 3 or greater. Excuse me. You draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Or distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 creatures you control. Or just creatures, not you control. Don't let me read more than there is. That's something that a lot of us do. We like to imagine that it's better than what it is. Death Sprout, 4 mana, destroy target creature, then you search the library for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped. D-Spark, exile target permanent with converted mana cost 4 or greater. I actually really like that card. Grizzly's Salvage. This is just some ramp for your graveyard. Fill your graveyard up. And they have Nyx Weaver. 3 mana for 2/3 reach at the beginning of upkeep. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Pay 3, exile Weaver. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So this ain't bad. Like, this is going to have value. This is good in the deck. And that's all we have for this deck. If you liked what you've seen, it definitely has the value. All the Commander precons that came out this year are definitely worth the buy. I've played with them, and everyone that I know that has played with these have really enjoyed them. There's so much great value in it. If you're like me, you're probably going to pick 1 or 2, but you're going to buy them all, and the rest you're going to tear apart for those reprints that we all love and enjoy. But guys, if you like this video and you want to see the other 3, follow me on over to there. We're going to crack some more, and we'll see you guys next time.